Thank you, Jarita. Thank you all. We got the emojis already working too. I love it. Welcome you guys to your Creative Future session. I'm going to give people basically 30 more seconds to come in the room, and then we're locking the room and we're getting into it. As we're doing that, please write in the chat where you guys calling in from. I made this session at a particular time frame that's more favorable to Europeans and people in Asia or Africa. That being said, there might be some of you in North America that are going, what the heck, dude? What are you doing to me here? So write in the chat, where are you guys calling in? For those of you that haven't been reading your emails yet, the Connection House, the thing I'm opening in a week and a half, this is a essentially preview to what it's going to be like. And so my goal is to have sessions that are favorable to people all around the world, which means sometimes it's going to be great for some people and not so great for others, but the recordings are always going to be available. Someone from California, I knew there'd be a couple. Awesome. It's going to be what, 5:30 a.m., maybe 4:30 a.m. for you. We got Indonesia, Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Quebec, Canada, Italy, Manchester, Philippines, Japan. It's so cool. You know, sometimes it's easy to complain about social media, but when you get people together from around the world, it seems pretty freaking amazing. So first off, I want to thank you guys so much for showing up for yourself today here. All right, it's a big deal to go from being a follower to a commenter to actually someone showing up for a session to develop themselves. That's a huge deal. So I really acknowledge you for whatever you need to manage to be here, whether it's your schedule, you know, your work, your sleep, your health, whatever had you be here and work it out to be here. I really acknowledge you for that. And my intention is to make this a really valuable session for you. So let me start by locking the room here. I'm going to lock the room now. Oh, a couple people sneaking in this last minute. And we are locked. All right. So thank you so much, you guys, for kicking off some of the sharing already. Love it. Now, my assumption, I'm going to dive right into it, you guys. We got 45 minutes together. I'm not here to talk your ear off. My goal is always to facilitate growth. All right. I'm not here to give you a big long speech that you've already heard before. I'm here to help you participate in a new way. So my assumption is that everybody who's here wants something new. Maybe a new feeling, maybe a new experience, maybe a new result in your life. Right? So my goal today is to draw that out of you with more clarity and direction, and that you're going to walk away with this call with some momentum in that direction. Now, that being said, words don't teach. You've probably read a lot of books about personal development. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. And after you read those books, I imagine your life didn't dramatically change. Maybe you had that one book that did the trick, but we feel like we're left in the same place. So my intention is always to facilitate action. Since words don't teach, experiences do. So my intention is to have you have a new experience here today that follows into something in your real life that makes a real difference. In my opinion, insights are the death of personal development. Let me share what I mean by that. A lot of us walk away with some new knowledge. Maybe when you watch my content, maybe when you read these books, but nothing in your life actually changes. So in my opinion, no offense, who cares? We want to make a real difference. We don't want to just have a new idea. Everyone's got new ideas. So my intention today with you guys is that we're going to facilitate something that actually pulls you forward and makes a real difference. Now, don't worry, you don't have to know how to do any of that. That's my job. You're already doing your job by showing up. Now, I guarantee this is going to be a valuable 45 minutes for you. What's going to make it 10 times more valuable is your level of participation. Now, for some of you, you just showing up here today is a massive step. For others, you might have shown up to some sort of personal development before. And so your big step might be engaging in the chat more than you normally would. For others, maybe that's not such a stretch. And your big step is actually raising your hand and sharing something. Whatever your step is, I encourage you to get out on your edge today. Whatever that edge is for you. We're not here to compare with each other. All right, whatever that edge is for you. So can I get a thumbs up if you're open to stretching yourself a bit today? We're open to coming up on that edge a little bit. Awesome. Not mandatory and always an invitation. Nothing about this is mandatory. Awesome. Thank you, guys. For those of you who didn't raise your thumbs, they're not here to put pressure on you. We're here to draw something out. So really great job already. Thank you, guys. All right. So a couple questions for you as we hop in. Now, you're going to want to make sure you have a pen and paper or your phone or computer, something you can write on. Doesn't matter what, just something you can write on. Now, my second question for you guys is, have you ever meditated before? Give me a thumbs up if you've meditated before. Okay, cool, cool. Have you ever taken, if you haven't meditated, have you ever taken some deep breaths before? This is my question of getting everybody involved. Yeah, we've all taken some deep breaths before, right? Okay, we're going to take 3 deep breaths together here. This is a way that I get centered. This is a way that allows us to be present. You might have not taken any deep breaths yet today, or maybe in a while. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths today. Pardon me. We're going to take 3 deep breaths together. And as we do this, we're going to close our eyes, and I'm going to have you guys set your intention for the call. Okay, so don't worry about starting yet. We're going to start in a moment together. As you're taking these deep breaths, I want you to focus on where you want to put your attention. What do you want to walk away with from this session today? Okay, so let's start together. We're going to close our eyes. Now, before we start, feel free to give yourself a stretch if you'd like. Maybe you want to move your neck or your shoulders a little bit. And then when you're ready, we're going to take 3 long, deep breaths. And with each breath, with each inhale, I want you to think about what you want to attract. And with each exhale, I want you to think about what you want to release. Go when you're ready. You can open your eyes whenever you've completed those 3 deep breaths. And write in the chat one word that came to mind. What is your intention for today, this session? Write in the chat one word that came to mind. Change, courage, faith, connection, ease, clarity. Oh, what a great variety we've got. Power, joy, contentment, self-love, release, joy. Wow, you guys are covering so many different things. This is beautiful. Focus, secure, action. Amazing. Great job sharing, you guys. Thank you so much for that. Now, why did we start off with deep breaths? I believe in 20 years or so time, we're going to think that we were crazy for not meditating every day. I got a feeling this is going to be a superpower for all of us, for our creativity, for our ease, but it's still in the relatively new stage, really new phase that doesn't have a lot of science that's mainstream backing. I really do believe it's going to be a superpower for all of us. But we're not going to meditate for the rest of the session. We're going to create for the rest of the session. So now I'm going to ask you the first key question of the exercise we're doing together. Now, this is the first exercise I do with everyone who participates in my Love or Fear programs. This helps us create our direction, where we're pointing our compass as we work together. Now, this first key question sounds like this. I want you to imagine you're standing in your future. No particular time frame, just the future. And it's the best possible future you can imagine for yourself. Everything's happening the way you want to happen. You feel how you want to feel. You're with the people you want to be with. And I'm going to ask you guys, we're going to spend a decent amount of time on this, about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to ask you guys to write what you've created. Now, don't start yet. I want to set up some parameters here. As you guys write, I want you to write in the present or past tense as if you're already standing in the future and you're simply describing what it's like to us. Okay? Now I'm going to ask you some thought-provoking questions if you get stuck, but feel free to tune me out if you're on a roll. You just go for whatever comes to mind. Now, the challenge that some people bump into when they do this exercise is they don't let themselves use their full imagination because a thought comes to mind and then we go, I tried that before and it didn't work. Or I don't know how to do that. And then we stop it right there. We stop momentum. So I want you to take off all the pressure here. I want you to let go that you need to know how to do anything you're about to write down. Not your job. Instead, your job is to be creative, as if you got a magic wand, and the only thing you need to do to make that thing happen is you just got to write it. Okay? Now, feel free to bring back all your limiting beliefs after the call is over. Your choice if you want to. But just for the duration of this call, I invite you to really let yourself break free of any limitations and let go that you need to have a plan for this, that you need to have anything that's figured out. The only question for you is, do you like it? If you like it, you write it down. Now I'm going to pose the question again and let you guys write freely. Okay, here we go. You're standing in your future. What have you created? Start the phrase with, I've created. And write out what your future's like. How do you feel? What's your relationship like? What's your family like? Make sure you're writing in present or past tense. How do you spend your time? What's your health like? Write with as much detail as you like, or stay broad, whatever feels good to you. Where do you live? What's your home like? What do people say about you? Remember, you said you'd stretch yourself at the beginning of this call. Go bigger. What do you think about you? What kind of person have you become? When you look back at how far you've come, what do you see? What do you love about the people in your life? What are you really proud of? What else? I'll give you 55 more seconds. What else? What have you not talked about yet? 30 seconds. Go ahead and finish up that last sentence or two. You can, of course, continue this later. Okay. Awesome. Pencils down, typewriter down, whatever it is you're using. Now, the next part of this exercise, we've got a couple steps here we're going to be going through together. You just did the first step. What I'm going to have you do next, you guys are all muted. I've made sure of it. I'm going to have you read out loud to yourself, out loud. It's a key part, what you wrote. Okay, now some of yours might be longer or shorter, so I'm going to give us about 3 minutes or so to do this. Put your thumb up once you've done it, so I know where we're standing. All right, I'll leave you now. Read it out loud and notice what sensations come up. Notice what you feel as you're reading this. Let yourself enter this future. Go ahead. If you finished, write in the chat what you're present to. How do you feel as you've read that out loud to yourself? And I'll read out some of the answers here. Peaceful, doubtful, like I'm in the future, unsure, sad, a little hopeless, certain, like this is possible, energetic, sad, optimistic, doubtful. Really great. Now, whatever came up for you, we're not here to change or fix it. All right. My philosophy on coaching is allowing you to show up in a space that works. That's never about forcing an outcome. It's about seeing what's there. You guys are sharing what's there, which means you're getting more and more connected to yourself. That's great. That's the direction we want to be playing in. So for those of you that had feelings that seem negative, I want you to just be with that and notice if you got yourself hooked on needing to know how. In my experience, anyone who does this exercise and has a negative emotion, it's because your brain wasn't in the exercise. You felt it for a moment, and then a moment later you went, how do I have this? Oh, I don't know how. It's too difficult. It's impossible. It's rare. It's whatever. And that's the doubt. So just be with that. Nothing to change or fix. For those of you that had a very positive emotion, I would assert that you actually let yourself go in this future for a moment. Actually let yourself be there. And we're like, yes, this is me. This is what I'm about right here. Really, really great job creating that. Okay. Next steps. I would like to invite two courageous people to share with the group what they wrote with two intentions. One intention to elevate your own confidence as you share in this group. Now, I've said in the emails, my goal with the Connection House is to train people for the essential skills necessary to have great relationships. I can't make you have those skills. I can only put you in the position for you to grow them. This is one of those positions. You guys are already doing it by sharing yourself, by writing out your future. This is how we actually elevate these skills. So I want to invite two people to share as an opportunity to elevate these skills and also as a contribution to the group, because I got a feeling one of you is going to say something and someone else is going to be like, I want to put that in my future. So we got Josh, he's got his thumb up. Raise your virtual hand. Who else wants to go? Josh, we'll have you go first. I'll ask you to unmute. And then we got space for one more. I know you're hesitating. Someone out there is like, maybe me, maybe not. I don't know how to say it, Dorcas or Dorsas. I'm not sure. I'm going to have you guys go, Josh and Dorsas. So Josh, I should have given you a prompt that allows you to unmute yourself. Awesome. That's testing. Beautiful, Josh. All right. So we're just going to have you read. Thank you so much for being courageous and putting up your hand. It's a big deal. You're in a room full of a bunch of strangers. Thank you so much for taking this on and being a contribution to the rest of us. We're going to have you share what you've created. All right. So go ahead and read what you got.
Thank you, Simon. I share this Zoom with a friend. My name's not actually Josh, it's Dominic, but it does say Josh. It does say Josh. So here's what I've written. I am in the present moment. I'm not fearing the future and I'm not obsessing with my past. I am feeling joy and sadness, fear and anger, because I know that feelings, thoughts and actions are all different things. And whatever I feel, I know I don't have to let those feelings direct my thoughts and actions. I have healthy relationships with everyone, and I choose how I direct my own thoughts and my own actions. I create fun. I share fun. I am self-secure. We share meaningful times and joy.
Thank you so much. It's Dominic, right?
Yeah, that's right, Simon. Yeah.
Dominic, what did it feel like to share that with us?
It felt really good. I was doubting the reality of it. It's like, I'm not self-secure. I'm not self-secure. But it still felt good. It still felt good.
I noticed some emphasis on that phrase in particular. Yes, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. If you heard something that Dominic said that you liked, feel free to add it to your creative future. Can you tell me how to pronounce your name? Dorsas or Dorcas? I'm not sure.
It's Dorcas.
Dorcas, please let us hear what you created for your creative future.
So I actually went into quite a bit of detail there, so I'll just give you the shortened version.
No, please. Please give us everything you wrote. If you're open to it.
I wrote, I've created total healing in my family. I'm calm, fulfilled, and so overwhelmed with happiness at how healed and wonderful my family is. I'm really proud of the work that I've done on myself, which has allowed me to heal all of the important relations in my life. And I have loving and kind relationship with my children and my ex-husband.
Was that the shortened version?
Well, it was kind of like a 3/4 version.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. What are you present to as you share that with us?
Just at the thought that that's possible fills me with so much joy. I'm overwhelmed with emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, I could feel that as you were sharing. It's like exactly what matters to you.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for letting us in and sharing that with us. Beautiful, you guys. Okay, great. So you just did the first part. Now remember, there's no expectation on you to know how to do any of this. All right. Part of this exercise is letting us act essentially like little kids who have no limitations. There was a time when we had no limitations. We had an idea and we went for it. And then life happened. And we started to adjust how we showed up to life based off of our experiences, not in a productive way, in a way that was based in fear. Now, it's not an accident that my coaching program is called Love Over Fear. I believe every choice that we make either comes from love or from fear. And fear is predictable. Love is not. Love is full of uncertainty and adventure and excitement. Fear is what we typically do because we aren't sure another way. So whatever's coming up for you, it's perfect. We're going to let it come up. Just like Dominic said, all these array of emotions, we're going to be with them. We're not going to resist them. We're going to see where we go from there. So let yourself get present to your future again, what you just wrote. Now, as you get present to being in that future, I want you to imagine the version of you that lives that kind of life. If you picture yourself in that future, what kind of person, what version of you gets to live that kind of life? How would you describe you? How would you describe someone who has that future? I want you to write it in the chat. What kind of person gets to live the kind of life you just wrote out? I'm going to be silent here as I let you guys have time to write here. Anything new come to mind? What's an adjective that you haven't thought of? It's like, oh, if I was being that way, this is my life. Now I'll read some of them out. Brave. patient, confident, assertive, positive, secure, self-loving, healing, secure, genuine, grounded, grateful, blessed, open-minded. Now, I want you guys to pick 3 and write them down below your created future. Pick 3 that really resonate for you. And ask yourself, if I was being that, would I be a match for this future? If the answer is yes, leave those 3. If it's no, ask what else? What's missing? Trusting, confident, grateful, calm, committed, honest, curious. Does everybody have 3? Anybody stuck? This is a good time to ask a question. If anyone's like, not sure what way is being is missing. Okay, great. All right. Now I want you to notice something. I didn't ask you, what do you need to do to have this life? I asked, who do you need to be? Why is that? Well, because most of us are doing everything we think we need to do, or beating ourselves up for not doing what we think we need to do. It's not working so well, is it? It's not really moving the needle into brand new. Well, my coaching is built on the philosophy that who we're being is the most important thing. That how we're being filters into everything that we do or don't do. And the most obvious way I like to picture this is imagine you're on a wonderful date with a wonderful person. And you're dressed well, and it's a great restaurant, and you're excited, but you show up and you end up being cynical and closed off and annoyed. Well, you can already guess how that date's going to go, regardless of how tasty the meal was. Because who you're being is going to shape the whole experience. Now, we can flip that on our head. Imagine it's the exact same date with the exact same person at the exact same restaurant, but you're being curious and secure and playful. You can already guess how that's going to go. Notice not a single action changed. The only thing that changed is who we're being. Imagine if I showed up for this call with you guys and I was being depressed and angry. You'd probably want to get off of this call as soon as you could. Even if I was saying all the same things I'm saying now. So my goal with the work that I do is to hammer this home, to remind us constantly that who we're being is the X factor. How we're being in our marriage of 25 years. How we're being when we go to work. How we're being at the gym. It shapes everything. So if you look at what you just wrote, the idea is to make this really simple for you. You don't have to go figure out how to have that future. Your job is to practice being the ways that you just wrote down. That's the most simple version I can tell you guys is the path to this future. Now, I, of course, coach people on the structure to create the futures that they write out. This is supposed to give you the jump start, okay? It's not the whole everything, it's the jump start, it's the momentum, right? Now, 2 other questions, and then we're going to wrap up. Now, your homework, I'm going to jump the gun here. Your homework is going to be to practice 1 or 2 of the ways of being you just wrote down this week. That's going to be your homework. That's simple. You don't have to go do a big, amazing thing. You don't have to figure out some magic formula. Your job is just to practice being these ways. Now, any of you that just said in your head, but I don't know how, not your job. not your job. I guarantee you there's going to be some moments that come up in your week where you're going, I could probably be curious here, but my temptation is to get angry or be righteous. Let's try out curiosity and just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Okay? That's the thing to play with. So give me a thumbs up if you're open to taking on practicing one or two of these ways of being this week and just noticing what happens. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. The follow-up 2 questions to help inspire you to take this even further. Okay. The next question is, if this way of being, these 3 or more ways that you wrote down, if this way of being attracts you to this future, makes you a match for this future, what could keep you from this future? What could stop you or get in the way of having this beautiful life you just created? What's pretty clear to make this future off the table? Write in the chat what you've come up with. My attachment, anxious and avoidant responses, acting out of fear, anxious, controlling, overthinking things, fear, surrounding myself with small people, fear to disappoint, fear, need to do so much, security, procrastination, lack of self-discipline, fear, and overthinking. I think we're noticing a theme here, guys, right? It's pretty obvious. Notice how easy it is to answer that question, right? We come to it quickly. It's like, yeah, that's going to guarantee this future is not for me. Okay. Now, we're not here to get all doomy and gloomy about it here, but I am going to make a point with this, so stay with me. Imagine this runs the show, but you just wrote fear, overthinking, anxiety, lack of discipline, procrastination. Imagine that runs the show for you. If that was running your show, if that was in the driver's seat, what would be your predictable future? If we were to play that out, what's life likely to look like? I really invite you to get specific here. Let yourself go there. Let me read some of the answers. In a loop, stuck, limited, sad, small, bleak, depressed, unhealthy, sad, stuck, unhappy, stuck. I get a pain in my belly just thinking about it. Now, I'm going to have you just go here for a second, okay? I promise we're not going to stay here. But just go into this feeling for a second. This predictable future. Now, try to picture that as clearly as you can in your head. What would we actually see happening? You guys wrote down a lot of feeling words, right? Feeling sad, lonely, bleak. But what would that actually look like? What would we see happening? If I had a camera following you around and you ended up letting fear run the show, what would we see? People not wanting to be around me. That's more specific. Really great. What else? Janice saying unhappy person, sleeping around, no deep connections, battling, struggling a lot. Just get more specific, you guys. So this is something I train people in my coaching. Most of us struggle to speak specifically about our life. We speak often in thought words, feeling words. I'll give you an example. If I'm My thing that I always often write down that's going to keep me from my future is being disempowered. When I'm disempowered, I'm an asshole. I'm a righteous asshole that pulls people down when I'm in that state. When I'm empowered, I'm unstoppable. There's nothing that can keep me from what I want in my life. But when I'm disempowered, I am brutal to be around. Now, that's just a feeling word. Now, let's break that down and further. Well, if I'm brutal to be around, I'm probably disrespectful to my wife. I'm probably alienating my mom. I'm probably not giving quality time to my son. Okay, let's play that out further. I'll probably get divorced. My wife will probably move to another country. I'll probably barely see my son ever. I won't get to become a grandfather. Suddenly, it gets pretty damn important for me to be empowered once I paint that specific picture. But when we stay in the place of lonely, sad, well, some of us already feel lonely and sad. Notice that's not bad enough. Let me say that again. Notice that's not bad enough for us to keep doing what we've been doing. Nothing changes in life until we're truly fed up. We have to literally go, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being insecure. I'm so sick of living in my head and telling all these stories about if I'm good enough for my partner. I'm done with it. I'm exhausted by it. Time to get to work on my security. Okay, what does that look like? Well, maybe it looks like ending this relationship, or maybe it looks like telling this person how I really feel. Suddenly we get an action. But when it's, I'll feel sad. Well, I already feel sad. So what's a little more sad? I can handle it. That's one of the most dangerous things that keeps us stuck, is our tolerance of crap. So I want you to get really present. I'm going to read some people said some specific things here. This is really great. Children will continue to be hurt and damaged by lack of love and connection. Now play that out. How often will you talk to them? What will you know about their lives? Someone else says a person who is not genuine. Sorry, one. You still hear me? Can you still hear me? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Someone asked, this is a really good question. Someone asked, but why am I not really fed up yet? Probably because you're not present to the cost of staying on this path. That's why I'm asking you guys this question. My intention with this question is to help you get present to what it's costing you to continue not being brave, to continue procrastinating. You guys, I'm only talking to you guys here because I've taken thousands of courageous steps that I was afraid to take. I remember the day I was scared to tell someone I wanted to be a relationship coach. I thought it would be embarrassing. And then a close friend of mine said, well, what if it worked out? Do you think you could be any good at it? I was like, yeah, I think I could be great at it. Well, guess what? There's thousands of people waiting for you to get out of your own way so that you can make a difference. Are you going to let them down? And then suddenly I was like, screw it. Let's go. We're doing it. I'm telling people, relationship coach, I'm getting to work here. But it was that. It took that. I was thinking about it for years. We've all got stuff in our life that we're thinking about for years, whether it's with our career or a relationship, and we're kind of half-assing something, kind of just going along and waiting for the right moment and all this kind of stuff. It ain't coming. But when we get present to what it's costing us, you guys, I've posted you've seen my posts. Obviously, you're here because you've seen my posts. I've posted thousands of things, and thousands of times I've been scared to hit that post button. Every time I get nervous, what are they going to think? Is it going to be good? What nobody likes? And I got thousands of followers. This was even when I was like, no one was watching anything. Still have those feelings. And then I go, somebody's waiting to hear this. Are you going to not let them hear it? Really? Now we got to get connected to that in our own life, about our friendships, colleagues, about our family. And all of a sudden, these actions of being brave and courageous, They become a no-brainer. So I want you to get really present to your predictable future when you're scared. I want you to get really present to your predictable future when you're scared. This future you just wrote, that's what's coming. Let that sink in the next time you hesitate to be the ways you just wrote out on today's call. Now, we don't have to do it all at once, you guys. I so strongly believe in exponential momentum. What is hard today will feel natural later. What feels natural later is something you don't even notice after that. It just becomes part of who you are. So we're going to let what you wrote earlier today become part of who you are by practicing this week these ways of being. If you do it once this week, you're building momentum. Okay? Now, my goal with this community is that we're going to just hammer that home like crazy. We're going to build so much momentum of our security, of our confidence, of our self-trust. Now, here's the catch. As you become more confident and self-trusting and become a better communicator, you're going to want to play a bigger game. You're going to want to evolve. And as you evolve, a new level of communication is going to be necessary, and a new level of confidence is going to be necessary. So if you think there's a destination, it ain't happening. I think that's one of the most annoying things about personal development is as we grow, we realize there's more that I want in my life, but as I want more, a new version of me is going to have to evolve. So to bring comfort to that process, I invite you to focus on the simplicity of improving 1% per day. 1% per day is 365% in a year. That's extraordinary. Part of your 1% is practicing the ways of being that you wrote out in today's session. So to wrap all this up, I want you to write those ways of being in the chat. What are you committed to practicing being this week? Feel free to steal each other's. What are you committed to practicing being this week? Vulnerable, optimistic, honest, brave, committed, loving, focused, mindful. Maja, I got some quick coaching for you that other people will probably benefit. We don't want to create a not that. Maja said non-judgmental. Sometimes we have a habit of writing what we don't want. Well, guess what? That's like me saying to you guys, don't think about pink elephants. What do you think about pink elephants? I just told you not to. You still thought about it. Well, that's like attraction in life. We focus on what we think about. So if you have a not that in your future, if you got a not that in your what you're creating here, we want to go, okay, what will be the opposite? I want to not be insecure. Okay, I want to be secure. We want to focus on that, and we will see opportunities. I promise you guys, you will see opportunities to practice this way of being this week. We're 5 minutes over time. Thank you guys so much for participating today. I so acknowledge you for the ways you're already showing up in your life. If you're here, I already know it's because you're someone who has a huge loving heart, and the people in your life benefit from your existence. So thank you so much for what you're already up to. And I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. Stay tuned for more information about the Connection House and how we can keep working together. And let's see what you create this week. All right? You're so welcome, you guys. Until next time, talk to you later.